Oh, here we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. We are so excited to be with you today because we are launching a brand new collaborative book. Leilani, what's the book called?
Kindness. Small acts, eternal impact. And in fact, right here, I have a special edition copy to show everyone.
Awesome. So we have authors here in our Hope Books publishing headquarters.
That's right.
And we're so excited that we're going to invite them up to talk a little bit about their story and share what they wrote in this collaborative book called Kindness.
That's right.
You ready to get started?
We're ready.
Awesome. So if you're watching us either live or watching the recording later, let's give them a hand.
That's right.
Our authors.
We're authors.
We're here, and they're going to be fantastic tonight. And let's get started.
Yeah, I'm really grateful to be able to share with our audience, our beautiful authors who have just shared in bravery and vulnerability their stories in kindness. So the first author that I would like to introduce first is Jeannie Cerrone. Welcome, Jeannie. Everybody give her a round of applause. Hi, Jeannie. Now, Jeannie, you have to tell me, did I pronounce your surname correctly?
Cerrone, yes.
Cerrone, okay. I wanted to make sure I got it.
Okay.
Well, Jeannie, it is so wonderful to have you here today. I feel like we've had a lovely time getting to know each other so far.
It has been wonderful.
I'm glad to have you. I usually like to start out with an icebreaker question. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I tried to make these a little bit fun. Let's see. If kindness or your chapter in kindness had a color, which one would you pick?
Well, I used to have a blog on that. I still have a blog on that. I want to believe that I chose either orange or yellow for my kindness. So it's like a peachy color, maybe.
Yeah, which actually parallels to our book cover as well. So
that's right.
Really special. And in fact, you had mentioned today that your necklace, you didn't even plan it.
It was not planned. I had ordered this online about a month ago, and it's a mother-daughter necklace pairing, and it's a dandelion.
Which is the same illustration as the cover of our book. How wonderful
so that worked out just fine.
Well, Jeannie, tell me a little bit about the writing process for you in kindness. I think before we get to really the heart of the chapter, can you tell us why you chose kindness?
I chose kindness because I thought it was going to be an easier path to write about something that I was familiar with. Personally, I've been told many times that I'm a very kind person and probably errs too much kindness. So I thought, oh, this will be an easy shoe-in. But definitely when you really start to get to the heart and soul of it, you have to dig really deep on what kindness is. So, but I'm really grateful that I've had that opportunity.
Well, we're so glad that you participated.
Yes.
I want to ask a little bit about your chapter without giving the chapter away. Mm-hmm. If there is one theme or emotion that would speak to what you wrote, what would that be?
This is something, I've been thinking about it all day. I think kindness, and I don't know if this would parallel it, but tenacity. I think when you have that, kindness, you have to have integrity. Mm-hmm. It's a form of the heart. I called it a heart muscle in there one of the paragraphs. But basically it's, tenacity is just being able to go through something that maybe you're having a hard time with. So I think endurance, struggling, but also having that positive side too. I would say tenacity works really well with kindness.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate the illustration there with tenacity and endurance. And I think about the heart and how the muscle needs to pump blood to the heart. And that takes tenacity.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, of the body.
Sometimes we don't want to do things, and yet kindness is one of those things where you can give it whether you have a lot or a little. It doesn't take a lot to be kind, but sometimes we do have to push through those hard times. So
yeah, no, I agree. Tell me about the collaborative piece for you versus maybe writing an article on your own or writing in isolation. What is the difference for you in writing for something that's a piece of your own versus writing in a collaborative piece?
That's a great question. I think that with collaboration, it relieves some of the pressure to have to produce a whole book by yourself. Like I've learned in the past that writing your own book could be akin to giving birth to a child, 9-month process or whatever. Whereas a collaboration is just a small piece of it, but you're able to also connect with others that have the same or like-minded thought process. And so that was really awesome to have that opportunity. I also think that having the support by Hope Books has been very much another reason why I decided to be a part of the collaboration. Being able to test the waters without having to jump all the way in. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. Last question. What is one piece of encouragement that you would give from your chapter to our audience?
I would say that to keep going forward when it gets hard, to practice. Kindness is the 5th out of all of the fruits of the Spirit. And so it's right smack dab in the middle. So you got love on one end, self-control on the other. Kindness sits in the middle. There has to be a reason for that. So whether it is something that you have to deal with in real life or it's just something that you're wanting to practice, I think it's just still taking that next step, whether or not you have, you don't always have that energy, but you can rely on the Holy Spirit. You can also just rely on those virtues. And I believe that kindness is also a virtue, even if people may not be believers in Christianity or just even in religion. Kindness is still a human quality. And I think just taking that next step and one after the other, and it will help you.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that before. The kindness being the middle of the setup of fruits of the Spirit, but that's such an interesting takeaway. I really, really appreciate that. And I know our audience loves you. Well, Jeannie, thank you so much for sharing a little bit about you and your chapter. And I know we all can't wait to read the rest of Kindness.
Right. So thank you for the opportunity, Leilani.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. Okay, well, we love to see the support online. This is very interactive, so please feel free to share what person or author that you are supporting this evening. We can see on our side all of the things that you say. Elisa Rendon said, writing your own book is like giving birth to a child. With collaboration, you share in the joy, which is wonderful. Brenda Castillo Sandoval says, awesome, my friend. So lots of support from family and friends. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our lovely second author with us. And I have next with me, Jackie. Everybody, can you give a round of applause for Jackie? Jackie, now can you share your full name with the audience so that they know what your chapter is?
Oh, Jacqueline Hajar. And my chapter is on When Love Spoke Louder Than Shame.
Love it. Okay. Before we get into your chapter, may I ask you an icebreaker question?
Sure.
Okay, great. This is one of my favorite parts. What is your food combo you would defend with your whole heart? And I can give an example. Personally, I like pineapple pizza, and I know that is a very racy opinion to have, pizza and pineapple. Is there a food combo, like a salty and sweet or a savory and sweet? Or
oh my goodness, that
spicy.
You do ask crazy questions.
I do.
Okay, food combo. I'm from the Pittsburgh area, so you put French fries on your salads, on a steak salad.
No way.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I love that. Okay, I'll have to go to Pittsburgh and have a chip salad, a chippy salad, fry salad. Love that. Well, let's get in to your book. Why did you, or the chapter in the book, why did you choose kindness? What was the yes for you?
Well, I've thought about doing another one of your collab books, but it was actually one of the workshops that Brian does online, and it was on kindness. And during that, I had okay, I know exactly what I could write about. So that's kind of where I started. My story shifted throughout the writing process of my direction. I mean, I knew the main focus, but
Yeah, as fate may have it, you chose kindness. I appreciate it. Okay, Jackie, when it comes to your chapter, and we spoke a little bit today because I had the pleasure of interviewing you and got to hear a little bit about the heart of your chapter and what it meant to you. Can you elaborate a little bit more without giving away the chapter? What did this chapter mean to you personally?
Well, it was definitely growth. It showed me a lot of growth, appreciation for what my parents did for me and for my daughter. It taught me a lot of life lessons at the time, but more so writing it.
Yeah.
I think it was like a lot of growth inside of me.
Yeah. I want to talk more about that. I want to hear more about that. When it came to the writing piece of writing and a collaboration, what changed in you sharing your story and writing your chapter? Was there a moment that, because I know you probably had the topic that you wanted to write about, but was there a moment in your writing and revisiting some of these memories that writing in this piece, something changed for you? Did a penny drop anywhere? And what would that penny be?
Well, yes, because I mean, the story takes place almost 33 years ago. So I think looking back at it now, I have a different perspective on things at that time in my life compared to where I am right now. Because now I am at the age my parents were. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing
Wow.
things a little differently.
Yeah.
And I appreciate more what they did and how much their kindness affected my life and my daughter's life and where I would be if it wasn't for that.
So you're looking back in reference to what happened 30 years ago, and it was the kindness from your parents in your situation that's still stuck with you throughout all of these years.
Yes.
That's fantastic. If you have one piece of encouragement for someone who may be struggling in, I don't want to say like an identity crisis, but maybe the perception, right? They've grown up in faith, or maybe haven't, and they have this fear of how they're being perceived. What would you encourage that person?
Don't listen to outside voice. Don't listen to those voices. Listen to your heart. Find somebody, find a mentor, find somebody that is your support system. Everyone needs a support system to get through things, and listen to God. Don't listen to those demons.
Support system and good friends.
Yes.
Love it. All right, Jackie. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
your heart
Thank
and your
you.
chapter. And we can't wait to read all of your piece.
Thank
you so
you.
much, Jackie. Oh, Reagan. I just want to shout out Reagan, who commented, "So proud of my mother, Jackie, always leading by faith and teaching her family kindness through her actions. So proud of her," which is so, I think that Jackie would definitely feel that, how the kindness has gone through generations, not just passed to her, but also what she would see in her daughter. So we really, really love that, Reagan. Thank you. And now, without further ado, I would love to introduce you to our next author. Up next, we have Marissa. It's so good to see you.
You too.
Green is definitely your color.
Thank you.
I love it. So Marissa, can you first tell us your name and where you have traveled to Matthews from?
I am Marissa Claudine, and I came from just outside of Greensboro, North Carolina.
Okay, so you're just a neighbor.
Just a neighbor, yes.
Yeah, not just a neighbor, but it was just
An awesome neighbor.
Awesome.
You guys are a great neighbor.
Love that. We love you. Is it okay if I ask you a little icebreaker question?
Yes.
Great. Okay. What is something that you're terrible at that you wish you were good at? Could be crocheting, could be water skiing.
I wish I could paint.
Paint.
Yes.
Why painting?
I just think being able to pick up watercolors and just
Yeah.
create something is so beautiful, and I wish I had that talent.
Yeah. Are you creative in any other ways?
No, absolutely not.
Play the piano or anything
No,
like that?
I don't.
You write.
I write.
You write, which is very
Right.
creative. I love that. Okay, Marissa. Well, let's jump into your chapter. Tell us a little bit about your chapter, but without giving it away.
My chapter is about receiving an invitation and how important it is for us to be willing to step boldly forward and have that invitation from God to show kindness to others, because it can totally have a ripple effect and change the trajectory of our lives.
What did that invitation mean to you personally, and how did that affect your faith life?
So at the time, that invitation was something I thought was odd. I was invited to a church, and it took me several years to go back to that church, but the ripple effect it had through my church, I have been able to step in obedience and lead women groups, host women brunches, bringing communities together. So it's been a huge transformation from God.
Yeah.
A
It's very
simple,
kind.
simple invitation. Yes.
Simple invitation.
Simple invitation.
You spoke about that earlier, teaser to the podcast, but you spoke about that earlier in the podcast about how simple acts of kindness are very meaningful, and they can make a long-lasting impact. Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like to write in one chapter about that? Was that easy for you? Was that hard? Did you find, just walk me through what it was like writing about kindness in a collaborative chapter.
For me, it was very humbling. I think, at least for me personally, I see all the things that God has done in my life more recently, but I think sometimes I lose the reflectiveness of what he has done. And ironically, that invitation came during a difficult time in my life. And so as I looked back, I realized, wow, it wasn't actually an answered prayer. It was a blessing from him. It was him actually showing kindness through a stranger. So for me, it was more of a humbling and opening my eyes a little bit more that I need to be a little bit more focused on all the blessings around me and not just kind of what I'm focusing on in that moment in my life.
Yeah. It reminds me of Joshua. You're piling up your stones
Yes.
as moments of kindness. Okay. I'm just thinking about what you had said in regards to how that simple invitation meant something so personal to you. What is something that you would urge our audience to lean into when it comes to kindness, and maybe how your chapter reflects that? If there's a piece, like a gold piece in your chapter, what is that urgency that you would recommend to our audience?
So for the audience, I would urge them to trust in the Lord. He uses ordinary people in amazing ways. And I think a lot of times we believe we need to be perfect. We need to be very strong in our spiritual life. We need to have all the knowledge. But you don't in order to be kind. And for me, it's very scary still. You think, oh, being kind is easy. But, you know, when you're called to say, hey, that person over there, they look like they need to be prayed with, to actually be bold enough to step forward and say, hey, can I just pray with you? I don't know your story, but you look like you're having a tough time. And just showing that person that little bit of kindness.
Yeah. I mean, everything that you're saying is such a gift, I think, for people to hear. And we've talked a lot about this so many times, how the fruits of the Spirit work so harmoniously together.
Yes.
So when you're talking about, I think about the obedience piece as being practicing your self-control as well.
Right.
But really the kindness in that of believing and stepping out in faith in that way. So
Yeah, and absolutely. And we may not know the reason of why we're being called to do something, and we may not see the results of it right away.
Yeah.
But having that trust in God that your one, as you said in the book, that one small act has such a greater impact.
Yeah. Small acts of kindness.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. All right, Marissa. Well, thank you so
Thank you.
much. It's been so lovely. All right. Well, I really appreciate all of the hearts and the encouragement that we're seeing from friends and family and fellow authors, thank you so much. Without further ado, I would love to introduce a very special author. Now, we don't typically get a lot of men who write with Hope Books, but we welcome them. And so I have the absolute pleasure now of introducing one of our authors who is holding down the house strong, representing the Men with Hope Books. We love them. So without further ado, I would love to introduce Terry Southern. Can we give Terry a round of applause? Terry, it is lovely to have you. Thank you for joining us here in Matthews today. How are you feeling?
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
If I were any better, I'd have to be twins to enjoy all of it.
I love that. Well, Terry, it's been so fun to get to know your perspective and just how God has orchestrated acts of kindness throughout your life and the wisdom that wisdoms he's called out of that. But before we jump into your chapter, is it okay if I ask an icebreaker question?
Sure.
Great.
Whether I answer or not is another story.
I won't be too hard. It won't be too crazy. What small thing makes you smile?
My wife.
I love that. Good on you. And would Ray be watching this later?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Ray. We love Ray. And I find that so beautiful that you and your wife have been married 32 years.
Yes.
32 years. When's your anniversary?
1st of January.
1st of January. What a great way to start off a new year.
We thought so too.
Yeah, that's so too. That's fantastic. Well, Terry, let me ask you about your chapter in kindness. Can you tell us a little bit about it without giving away your chapter?
Yes, certainly. My chapter is about a rescue operation in Alaska where there were more unknowns than there were knowns. And the outcome was solidly against rescuing. As it turned out, there was a lot of things that had to be done and a mix of people with special circumstances that came together in just the right time to make certain things happen.
Terry, you had mentioned before about how there is this essential piece of kindness that stands out to you. And you mentioned collaborative or contribution. What does that mean to you? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Especially for men, we have a hard time asking for help. We have the mistaken understanding that every man needs to be self-sufficient. And so asking for help is admitting weakness when it's exactly opposite. We become self-sustainable in order to not only help ourselves, but to help the community. Every person has those gifts that they're very good at and those gifts that they are not very good at.
Right.
And they should leave those to the people who are good at those. So when somebody asks for help, it's not just a gift to them. It's especially a gift for us because it makes us feel good. It makes us know that we're not alone.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a beautiful illustration of how God exists in a family and gives us that gift of being in community with one another. And just the depth of that experience, which you so eloquently write in your chapter. I mean, it's such a unique experience. I would like to ask, because of the amount of writers that we see that come along our way, can I ask if you could encourage writers out there who are men specifically? I know you've spoken a little bit about things that you've learned through community collaboration and also with being a man. And I am a woman, so I can't speak to that. What is a piece of advice that you would give men who are thinking about their testimony and maybe discounting it, or they have a story and maybe they have a nudging that they know that their story needs to be told, but they don't even know whether they don't know if it's important or if they should share it? What would you encourage that writer or our audience?
Gentlemen, the number one thing that I would recommend is to find a mentor. In my case, it's Hope Writers, especially Brian. And because Hope Writers is a very nurturing place to learn to write. And you will have people who you can send your stuff to, and you can ask them, can you read through this and tell me if it's garbage? Because most of us, especially after our first few pieces, we would never dream of somebody else giving it to somebody else to read, but somebody who we know who will be gentle when they give us the feedback. Hope Writers does exactly that. It allows me to meet other writers who are on my level, who I can say, can you read this and see what you think, see how it feels? Men write from a man's perspective, women write from a woman's perspective, and it takes a very special person to write from both. So if I want to lose half my audience, then I write just from my point of view. If I want to get that other 50%, then I need to write from that point of view also. So I need to have male readers and female readers. And again, Hope Writers does that very well.
Yeah, I mean, that's excellent wisdom and writing advice, even for women as well, thinking about being able to speak from a whole or to a whole. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you, Terry, so much. I appreciate your vulnerability and your bravery and just your honesty. It's been a gift and a joy to have you.
It was my pleasure.
Thanks, Terry. Okay, everyone, let's give Terry a round of applause. Okay, so we have one more author with us who is in the offices, and it has been just such a wonderful day to be able to hear from everybody's stories and their chapters, and also really enjoy that we have the capability with technology to have our authors who are joining us virtually. But our last author that we have joining with us here live in Matthews is Kim. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Kim. Everyone, would you be so kind to give Kim a round of applause? Hello, Kim. How are you?
Good. Glad to be here.
It's so lovely to have you. Out of the corner of my eye, I did see Karis.
That's my daughter.
That's your daughter. Karis says, I'm so proud of my amazing mom, Kim. Your writing is always my favorite.
It's so sweet.
How does that feel? How does it feel to be a published author where your family and friends get to now read the inner workings of what you've been doing working on behind the scenes?
I'm just grateful. I'm humbled. I thank you, Karis. That just helped me to relax instantly. And God knows. So I'm just thankful. I praise God.
Yeah.
That he can use our broken stories and, for his purposes.
Yeah. Okay. You're such a delight. Well, okay. Before we get into your chapter, can I ask you an icebreaker question?
Sure.
I just feel like it's fun for our audience. Okay. If you could instantly become an expert in something, what would it be?
Cooking.
Cooking.
I cook to survive.
Yes.
I look for hacks.
Yeah.
I'm not a gourmet chef.
Gosh,
my son is, but
that's amazing.
which is ironic. I wish I could cook really well and be confident.
Yeah.
Invite people over and not apologize.
Goodness me. I didn't know that in adulting, one of my biggest daily decisions would be trying to figure out what to make for our family or what to eat for dinner.
How to prepare chicken in like 1,000 ways.
In 1,000 different ways. Absolutely. Kim, you're hilarious. Well, Kim, tell us and the audience a little bit about your chapter.
So my chapter is about the transforming grace of God in my life and all of our lives, that enables us to show kindness, to live a life of love, even in difficult seasons for ourselves, when we feel empty, when we're going through loss or experiencing a lot of fear. Even through all of that, God enables us just to live a life of love and kindness.
Yeah. It seems like that has come from such a deep and personal place for you. When it comes to what you've written in your chapter, who do you hope that you encourage? Is there someone that you picture, or who is that person?
I think I hope to encourage the person who feels like right now they are pouring from empty. You know, maybe the tired mom, or someone going through a difficult relationship, someone grieving, someone who's just experienced a lot of rejection. Anyone who feels that emptiness of not having enough and not being enough. And not wanting to really show up fully because they're afraid they have very little to give.
Which is a real place that each and every one of us would experience in our human experience. How has writing and kindness influenced you as a writer?
My family jokes that I'm a writer that doesn't want anybody to read what I write, you know, because I think I've spent a lot of time just on my own, just writing for my own, I guess, for myself in so many ways. And I think
like journaling,
and I, you know, just I have a ton of just half-written things, and but in the process, I realized that this is more than just wanting to write. This is trying to be a steward of the story that God has given me. And I think it's really taught me that it's not just about me. You know, it's about really looking at what God has given me in order to encourage someone else. And if writing is a way to do it, then, you know, I'm here for it, and I'm really thankful.
Kim, I believe what you are sharing is really, really impactful for the next generations. Can you give our audience who are in the next generation a piece of solid advice that they could take from kindness in your chapter?
I think to know that kindness is difficult, and not to be discouraged by that, but to realize that genuine kindness is something that requires the grace of God. And but God will equip us. You know, through His grace, even in our weakness, even in our limitations, in our brokenness, God meets us, and He uses all those things. But we have to be willing to surrender those things to Him and let Him use those things. You know, so that's what I would say.
What a gift.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kim.
You're
Well,
welcome.
we have so enjoyed having you. Thank you for letting me ask all of these questions to you. But we really appreciate having you
Thank
here.
you for having me.
Thank you,
so
Kim.
much.
Everybody, round of applause for Kim. Amanda Young from California is also sharing some love. Proud of you, sending so much love from California. Your words have always been such a gift to others and an encouragement to me. That's really kind. Thank you. All right, well, we're not finished. We do have 2 authors joining with us online. So I would like to switch now to our first author, Mary. Everybody, we would like to welcome Mary Warner, and I'll give a quick round of applause. Mary! Mary, it's so good to see you. I love this spring floral top that you have on.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Mary, tell us a little bit about you. Where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. How's it going in Toronto?
Hmm.
Mm.
Our weather is fluctuating. It's
Yes.
much cooler. It's supposed to be summer, but the weather
Yes.
is still cool.
Well, you can come on down to Matthews, North Carolina anytime, and we will lend you some of our sun.
Yeah.
Mary, it's so great to have you tonight. And I would love to be able to share a little bit about your chapter. Can you tell us about what you wrote and what it means to you?
Okay, what I wrote was not really what I intended to write.
Okay. I've never heard that before.
So, as I started my project, I think the Lord was leading in a different direction because I just suddenly started hearing about all the different ways that we can show kindness, all the different things that we can do. And it is not very, sometimes we may think it is so hard, but I think when the Lord is leading you, He just plops you in the right place at the right time,
Yeah.
where you can be of service to other people. I went even in a pharmacy store and I witnessed that. So I kept on witnessing all
Mhm.
the different ways that people can give and help and support other people.
Mhm.
In my book, I referenced a lot from the scripture because that is what God wants us to do as His children. He wants us to help others,
Yeah.
especially those that are in need.
Mhm.
So many times I found it hard for me. I give an example in my book, in my chapter, about having to go visit someone out of town,
Mhm.
which that was the last thing I wanted to do because I didn't have the time to do it.
Mhm.
But when you want to do what God wants you to do, when He prompts you to do it, you just do it.
Whoosh, that speaks. Yeah, when you want to do what God wants you to do, He'll do it.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
think that is a word. That is a timely word. Tell me a little bit, because I know you touched a little bit about how God presented all of these different examples of kindness to you, and when you have experienced those examples of kindness, and then you're putting it in the framework of the project that you were in. Was that easy or was that difficult? Did writing that come easy to you? Were you able to pick these examples and put it in an outline? Or was it something that happened over time? Did it help having an editor look over your chapter?
Well, I've had so many things, so many instances and references that I was not able to fit them in.
Mm-hmm.
Only after writing it, I was asked for specific examples. And that's when I drew on to those experiences that I was experiencing at the very time. All these things happened while I was writing.
Yeah. So you chose to write about something that was timely. It was something that you were experiencing, something you knew about and you believed, but it was happening in real time.
Yes, I believe that the Lord was trying to teach me something.
Right.
And yeah, so that's how I wrote all these things at the same time that they were happening.
That's fascinating. Well, okay. So we've talked a little bit about your piece. We've talked a little bit about the writing process for you. Can you give us a little bit of some of your wisdom from kindness? What is something that we can take away from your chapter that we can bring into our everyday life?
What I think is that we've got to remember that whatever we do for the Lord is never wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And that we will definitely reap the rewards.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be at the time that we do the act, but later on down the road, doors will just start opening for you. And then you'll realize, and God will bring it to your memory that hey, remember the time that you did this? Well, that is the result of that. So it's just a matter of walking and listening and obeying.
Yeah. Yeah, Mary, thank you so much. That's something we can definitely chew on for a bit. So thank you so much for joining us virtually. Please hang around. We don't want to lose you. So hang around, Mary. Thank you so much. Up next, we have another wonderful author. Her name is Stephanie Fortuna. Everyone, I would love if you could also give Stephanie a round of applause in the chat. If you could give little claps too. Stephanie, it's so wonderful to see you. I see Catherine, and I don't want to mess up her last name. Her last name starts with a Q, is also here with you, Vivian. So you've got a lot of love for and support for you. Stephanie, tell us a little bit about you. You're joining from
Kearney, New Jersey, World Cup Central right now.
That's amazing. And tell us a little bit about you. Have you always been a writer, or is this something that is new to you?
I've actually written since I was a little girl. My teachers used to sneak me advanced copies of novels and stories, and I would just tuck away and write a lot of event period pieces, and I still love that till this day. And
Who's
it just
your favorite
inspires
period
me.
piece? Sorry, who's your favorite period piece writer? Are you like a Jane Austen?
I was just gonna say Jane Austen. Yeah, and because of those pieces, it just inspired me to write. And then, you know, since you did mention Catherine, she is, and my sister Vivian, they're the two who inspired me to. I would always write devotionals and post it for women, and they were like, "You should make a book out of this or tell a story." And from there, I just started writing. And God really meets me in my writing, not only for me, but for others.
So what was it like for you coming from writing on a different platform or scale, as you could say? What was it like for you writing in a collaborative book?
I felt like we were living out Revelation 12:11, that we were giving our testimonies. We were I think all of us collectively were triumphing in the way God wants to meet us. He wants us to come together and testify of his goodness and his faithfulness and his kindness that has been displayed in our lives. And to be a part of that, I think, is humbling, but also a blessing.
Yeah, amen. Stephanie, tell us a little bit about your chapter in kindness. What is the title of your chapter and what did you write on, without giving it away?
So my title is Shechem Place, where hope turns to faith. And it's not your typical vision of kindness. It's when God's mercy is his kindness. You know, in this chapter, I come close to death, and God meets me in the middle of disobedience and despair and fear and turns it into trust and faith. And, you know, it's that exposure that he meets you and he meets everyone. And it's not rejection, it's pursuit. And, you know, like that song where he leaves the 99 to pursue the one, that's what he's doing. And that's what he did in this chapter. And, you know, that Shechem place is the woman at the well. I mean, I feel like exposure should never be shame, but should be looked at as restoration. And that the woman at the well was restored. And so I feel like each and every one of our chapters is where we meet at that place where there's restoration and transformation. And that's the hope we bring to our readers. And so this chapter really just showcases God's kindness, love, and mercy.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Stephanie, you touched on just so many wonderful things there. I mean, instantly just thinking about what you're saying of God being merciful to you, and that was his kindness. And goodness, hasn't that always been what the Lord has been trying to bring back to us? That vulnerability that isn't exposing in a negative way, but since the Garden of Eden. So I really appreciate just your heart and your courage, and just what God has really gifted you in your words. What is one piece of advice that you would give, taken from, I know you did speak a lot to what God has done in and through you, through writing and kindness and in your life, but what is a piece of advice that you would give maybe someone who is the younger version of you, because that person could be watching right now?
I would say identify a place in your life God is asking you to surrender some control. And I think we love to control every facet. And oftentimes God says, take your hand off, and we don't. I would say identify that one thing. There could be many, but identify one that makes you feel uncomfortable, and allow God to work. And oh my goodness, just the wonderful fruitfulness you will see God work in just that one thing. And then you just move on from there.
Take the one thing off that you're controlling. Yeah, noted. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie. It's been so wonderful to be able to hear about your chapter in kindness. And that's all the authors that we have today joining with us. But we are so proud of every single author who has contributed to this book. The bravery and the courage it takes to take that first step in writing. And so we would implore you to share this Facebook Live, share the book. It's available on Amazon. Oh, you know what? Before we log off, I just see now that Rachel has been able to join with us. So Rachel, oh, this is such great timing. I'm so glad we got you.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I've been sitting here on the wrong link, so I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, Rachel, it's so wonderful to have you. I'm so glad that we're able to catch you. Well, Rachel, tell us where are you joining from?
So I live in Colorado, but right now I'm joining you from a hotel in Texas.
Okay, Texas. Well, Colorado is so beautiful as well, but we're so glad that we are able to see you virtually. Tell us a little bit about your chapter. What did you write on?
So my chapter is about my dad. My dad passed away in 2021, but he is the person that I think of when the word kindness comes up. Both of my parents are very kind, but my dad just was known for being such a kind, gentle man, but at the same time very strong. He was a musician. He led a band, so he just had a very unique life. And growing up with a dad like that, I feel very, very blessed. I know that it's not everyone's experience. And I think growing up with a father that was very strong and at the same time very kind gave me such a good picture of the Father in heaven. I just had a very secure relationship with him. And as I grew in my faith and my relationship with Christ, I think that helped me translate. And I've always had a trust in God. I've always had a faith that he was there. So a lot of it is about, and it's kind of telling a story, a certain story that my dad, where we had a very special interaction. He was a very quiet man, but he spoke into my life in a really special way. And in thinking about him speaking into my life, I also think about how Jesus spoke into the woman at the well, how he spoke into her life. And so it's kind of those two stories put together a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, what a beautiful gift on this side of earth to have such a wonderful correlation between God the Father and the earthly father that you have. And it's so interesting, Rachel, I don't know if you did hear, but Stephanie who we had just heard from earlier, she referenced as well the woman at the well. So one of the things that I really appreciate about this collaborative book process is oftentimes there's a theme, but then there's a theme within a theme.
Yeah.
So I love that there's these references that connect scripturally, but also within kindness.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about why you said yes to a collaborative book.
I have been writing just for myself. I am a stay-at-home mom and wife, and I was a teacher for 7 years. I did have a profession, but since I've been home with my kids, I have just been writing on Facebook, mostly posting things about my family, my kids, just life in general. A lot of things that I notice God teaching me in the real world. And many people have just said, you need to put this into a collection and you have a gift. And so I had a lot of encouragement from friends and family along the way. But I said yes because I really felt like God wanted me to do this. It was kind of a step of obedience. And I had a very supportive husband, and he encouraged me as well. And so I said yes, kind of as a step of faith, of also feeling that the Lord has been calling me into this. And this was such a great opportunity. And he literally gave me the things to write. So.
Yeah. I mean, how wonderful it is to truly have a supportive community around you to speak into things that not only you feel passionate about, but something that clearly God has put on your heart and in your hands. So that's fantastic, Rachel. Well, before we say goodbye to our audience here, just want to ask, what is one piece of advice that you would give to someone who's thinking about writing in a collaborative book project?
Just start looking around and seeing things that you can put your voice to. I tend to write about the things that are just happening in my everyday world. And even though that world sometimes seems a little small, being at home, it's amazing how many things, when you're looking, God will give you to write about. And so I have a book that my mother-in-law gave me that it's a beautiful journal. And when the Lord puts ideas on my heart, and I'm not in the time frame to be able to sit down and write something, I just jot ideas down in that. So that's probably my advice, is just, be in communion with the Lord and listen, and just listen. And I think he'll put things on your heart to share.
And that's so great, the way that you just described writing and sharing to be accessible, that it can be simple. So I really appreciate that. And I know that would be very helpful to our audience and those listening and tuning in. So thank you so much, Rachel. Don't leave us just yet. I want to invite Brian just to give us a little bit of a summary and say goodbye to our audience.
Y'all, we did it. Give yourselves a hand. Congratulations. We're so honored to publish these amazing authors. And so for those of you watching live or watching the recording later, make sure to give them a shout out. The book is available on Amazon. The link is in the description of this video. So go ahead and grab a copy for yourself and for a friend. And we're just so grateful for our authors and their faithfulness in writing their story. And if you've ever thought about writing your own story, you can just visit hopebooks.com, H-O-P-E, hopebooks.com to learn more. We'd love to schedule a call and talk about how we can help you write your story and publish your book. And until next time, thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Good job. We did it.